let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure a few more people will join, but typically we go around and introduce ourselves and say what organization we're with. And then we'll turn it over to our guest, Bonnie, who's here from the Small Business Development Center. But let me go through everybody else and then we'll get to Bonnie. So I'm Hannah. I'm the Assistant Director at Habitat for Humanity of Key West and Lower Florida Keys. And we've been doing this group for, I guess it's going on 2 years now. So this has been really a good thing to get everybody together and share techniques for all types of marketing, fun. We started out just doing AI, but we branched into marketing and fundraising in general. So I will turn it over to Karen. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good morning. So Friends of the Key Largo Library, I'm president. And I think, gosh, I've been coming since the beginning, which makes me very happy. I was just referring to someone about the AI classes that we talked about at the very beginning. I would love to find, I don't think we recorded those, did we, back at the very beginning?
Yeah, I don't think we did.
Yeah,
but we can visit AI. It's actually really come a long way since the beginning. So, it changes so quickly. So it's probably time to do another AI session.
Class on prompts. That was the topic I was talking to a friend at the library about. So
that was Bonnie. Bonnie gave us those wonderful prompts. I still am thankful for those.
Mm-hmm. So that's me.
Awesome. Okay, Michelle, do you want
to? He visited me in the library in Marathon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good morning, everyone. Michael Cunningham with the Keys AHEC Health Centers. I think most of you know me and know what we do at this point. Again, along with Karen, we've been here since probably the very, very beginning. And through this group, too, we also got introduced to the folks from Luna, which was a Level Up nonprofit accelerator group, and we joined them. And that's been a 26-week program with all sorts of interesting topics, lessons, homework, assignments. And luckily, Michelle came on with us in September, and then she and I both tag teamed the project. And after 26 weeks, I believe this Thursday is our capstone project, which Michelle will be completing with a presentation and a little presentation to one of their donors. So we get some hands-on experience with that. Boy, do we have a lot of material from there. So if anyone's ever looking for anything with board information, we've got a catalog like you couldn't believe. So, thank you for that opportunity as well.
Maybe we'll have you all as our guest next time. You can share what you learned. Yeah. Michelle, do you want to follow up on that?
Sure. I am Michelle Neville. Excuse me. I'm the development director here at Keys AHEC. And I've been working diligently on the Luna project. Looking forward to presenting. It has been a wonderful experience. So yes, I'd be happy to talk about the experience after we finish the course here. And yeah, also, I want to reach out anyone that's in the Keys. We're having our Friends of AHEC upcoming member mixer in Isla Mirada on the 30th of the month. So check our website, our Facebook, our social media. There's a link for tickets to that event. We would love everyone to come out and support us. This is a milestone for us as well. This is the first event that we've had in a very, very long time. So please come out and support us. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Great. Alicia from Reef Relief.
Hi, everyone. My name's Alicia. I'm Reef Relief's program manager. We've been around for about 40 years, and we work in the environmental area. We have education programs and conservation programs, specifically marine debris removal. We also work with local businesses and government to create more sustainable futures through our sustainability initiatives. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to learn.
Thank you. Okay, Mija. Oops, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Okay, I'm here. My name is Misa Ritchie Smith, and I am with ABWA Homestead Charter Chapter. ABWA is a national organization, American Businesswomen's Association. So we have a chapter in Homestead. We have another chapter in Coral Springs. I think there's Northern Palm Beach, Lakeland, and a few others. So we are nationwide, and we are focusing on leadership and scholarships for young ladies in the Homestead area and the Upper Keys.
Very cool. Okay, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I am the founder and current vice president of Presence in Paradise. And we have just gotten to a point that we've been doing holiday gifts, clothing, shoes, and bedding throughout for the past 21 years, but we're trying to break into doing clothing, shoes, and bedding events throughout the Keys year round. And so we just have finally gotten a brick and mortar spot. And so I'm here to learn how we are going to fund that.
Great. Okay, and I'm not sure who's here from Last Stand.
Hello, it's Mary Splain from Last Stand. I'm the executive coordinator. And Last Stand has been around since 1987. We deal with quality of life and environmental issues throughout the Keys.
Okay, great. And Bonnie is here with us. For those of you who haven't met Bonnie before, she has many years of experience in the nonprofit realm as well as in the for-profit realm. And I'll let her take over, tell us a little bit about your background, Bonnie, and then we'll get into what we're talking about today. Oh, Bonnie, unmute, please.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for having me back. I love being a part of this. It's not a part of my everyday day to get to help nonprofits, but Hannah, my office is asking me to do another round of how to start a planned giving program. So I may be around the county again this year. So I was surprised. It's like, no, you deal with profitable businesses. I'm going, but nonprofits need to be more profitable. But anyway, so my background, again, I've owned advertising marketing companies twice in my life, spanning over 25 years, and ended up in nonprofit. And I've spent over 20 years there helping grow different nonprofits. And they all have their challenges. And one of the biggest challenges, of course, is raising money. And through a land preservation organization that I ran for 7 years in North Florida, you just took somebody on a tour of the Talbot Islands. And all of a sudden, 6 months, a year later, whatever, get a letter in the mail. And it's, hi, Diane Joy Milam Dennis has passed. And she's left X amount to her alma mater and X amount to her church. And she's left the remainder of her estate to North Florida Land Trust. And it's like, oh, cool. Okay, I'll get a couple of $100,000. It was $9 million. And that's why it's important to do these kind of programs. So in teaching planned giving, I also try and look at other ways to give, other things that I've seen done. And when I came down here to work for REAP, I set a lot of these up for them. And so I wanted to just talk about a few of them, but also get everybody engaged in sharing other things that they do, because there's no end to the kind of ideas you can do that are about sharing how to raise money a little more smartly. Before I do that, I do want to show one thing. You were talking about different programs. The Jim Moran Institute, which is part of Southeastern Toyota, is who it's funded by, does, and this isn't right now, but I would put this on your radar. Anybody, I've recommended Aaron for it from the Birds organization. So they have nonprofit executive programs, which run 3 to 4, 5 months, and they're all free. And so that's something any one of you nonprofits can take advantage of at some point. So I wanted to just point that out as one thing. And now I'll go back and share my little PowerPoint. There it is. Okay, put it on the screen. And this is really short just to go back into saying, oops, I didn't need presenter. I just want to use a slideshow. There we go. So Small Business Development Center, somebody just asked me, I think it was Karen, how does somebody get help from them? They are nationwide. There's over 1,000 offices nationwide. They're all connected to universities. And so anybody can apply for support. Some of them do support nonprofits. Ours, I think the state of Florida is just that they don't have somebody who's knowledgeable in it in order to support it. So I don't think it's limited nationwide. So anybody can get help in their geographic boundaries. I'm out of Miami, and there are 3 of us consultants in the Florida Keys that help businesses. And so I try and do what I can for nonprofits. So now we're going to talk about other ways to give. I just brought these out of the planned giving slides and just threw them up here. And crowdfunding, yes, people do that. We've seen it. We've had one lady at one of the banks get hurt up here. And of course, they did a GoFundMe. You look at the fires in California. GoFundMe was on NPR yesterday talking about raising money for this emergency need. And I think they've just funded over $100 million through crowdfunding. So when we say, does it work or doesn't work? It does work. It depends upon your cause. And notice Facebook fundraising has changed their rules to where if you do any of those birthday fundraisers or any of those things, they are no fee. And PayPal offers no fees. So somebody was saying something, or are they just not on mute? Oh, no worries. Okay. So that's the first one that's really interesting. It's used in films a lot. And so there's different kinds of crowdfunding. There are nonprofit platforms that do it for you. Affinity programs is another one. And I'm going to go into these in a little more detail. This is just a list that I keep. And that is cause marketing. So if you use Stream to See products, and I know Reef Relief knows this, you can set up a special link on your website. And if somebody pushes through to that link and buys their products through that link, then Reef Relief or any other organization, Reef included, will get a percentage of that sale. That is used nationwide by major companies. Our sports company here, West Marine, used to have a cause marketing program to where anybody who shopped at West Marine, a percentage of that sale would go. At Reef, and I'll show you in a few minutes, there's a underwater camera company out of San Francisco. They have a cause marketing program. And so if anybody uses that link to buy their thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment, Reef Environmental Education Foundation gets a percentage. So those are something that you don't realize, and little companies will do it just to grow their company. Or if they're in our community, they will set it up just to help causes they care about. Some of them do it in not formal programs, such as Jellyfish Daydreams. She gives to the eye care for every sale that she does. So those are still cause marketing. And then you have gifts of stock. That is really an interesting program because if you're not promoting it, and most of our nonprofits really don't know how to handle it, what it allows is anybody can give you a share of Apple. They bought it at $10 and it's now worth $450 for that share. If they give you that share itself at $450, they do not pay capital gains tax on that money. That is huge. But one of the problems we have is that you have to have a stockbroker or a bank that's large enough that has that division. Otherwise, because you need to sell it immediately, because the nonprofit can get caught in the raise and lowering of that value in the stock market, and it changes the value of the gift. So it should be sold upon receipt And so one of the things when I taught this the first time in Marathon, the Community Foundation partnered with myself, and maybe Ocean Reef Hannah does this as well. I don't know at this time. But what happened is when I taught it again in Key West, Jen McComb and of course Elizabeth now said, okay, we at the Community Foundation can help you. If you accept any gifts of stock, we will handle it for you, sell it, and not charge you a dime. So they've set up a system to help all of our smaller nonprofits. So nobody should be able to say, we can't accept stock. You just simply connect it to them on your website. The money comes through and they sell it immediately and you receive those funds. So that's really amazing for our smaller nonprofits that don't have a lot of staff to support this.
Yeah, Bonnie, did Jen or Elizabeth give you any language that we could put on our websites about that?
I would just get with Elizabeth. I think,
Okay, I'll ask Elizabeth.
I'll show you what Reef has and how it works. We'll go to their website in a few and you can see how it works because you have that exactly where you need to go, what you need to do. And you do have to get that language from Elizabeth. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Honorariums, setting this kind of stuff up on your websites. Again, I'm going to show you in more detail in a second because I'll be able to show you Reef and some of them is really great because that gives people other reasons to give to your organization. They can honor people. Somebody passes, they can give a gift to that instead of buying flowers for a funeral. Recognition, my brother has his 70th birthday today. And so you can do something. He's blind and vision impaired. So I could give a gift to CIL today in honor of my brother. Okay. So those kind of things. Monthly giving is another that people will give more regularly than they will in one annual gift, which is really interesting. So if you're not set up to do that, it's something that encourages giving. They forget about it and it just sits there and makes nonprofits money. And of course, securing corporate partners, which we all try to do, but setting it up on your website to be in an entire program that recognizes them. So that's sometimes there's back end work that you want to do. Donations of car, boat, or home. We all look at that and go, oh my goodness. So the History Museum received a boat. It was valued at the appraisal at $36,000. If you sell it within 3 years of receiving that boat for higher or lower, then the owner has to pay additional monies or their value is reevaluated at lesser. So somebody has to hold some of these gifts for certain periods of time. So I said that again at the third presentation in Key Largo, because I'd said it at the first two. And again, the Community Foundation announced at that meeting new policies at the Community Foundation. They can accept your car, boat, or home. If anybody ever wants to give it to you, they will do the holding, they will do the processing, they will do the turning it into cash for you. I just, I've never seen a community foundation that works as much for a community as a Community Foundation here in the Florida Keys over the past 5 years. So yes, I'm a little disappointed Jen McComb has left and gone to help the dogs, help the pets, to PETA. So anyway, so that's just an idea of what they are. So how I got my idea and really got into trying to figure out other ways to give was when I started at Reef, looking at other organizations. This is the Ocean Conservancy's website. And if you look at it, it's easy, it's clean. You can just click on any one of those and what suits your fancy, what resonates with you. Because if you don't resonate with your donors, you don't really, it's not about you. It's what do they need? And so looking at the different ways that they have, the cause marketing, make a one-time gift, monthly, corporate, champions for the sea, little specialty programs, it's phenomenal what you can do. And of course, big monthly giving or a one-time gift. They've got that right up front. And then it's how do you do all of these other things? And then, of course, here's Reef. We set up, they've got a Unity Garden now. You can do different things, memorial gifts, monthly giving, all of this. You can see, they've championed on every one of these. Shop to support, raising money, symbolic animal adoptions, vehicle donations. So they're really do help. And then I took it over to the History Museum, Gifts of Stock, Planned Giving Society, Donate Your Car. And look at these words that are used. Take a vested interest in our vision. So using language like that. And then, of course, I added in the slides just now that here's when Community Foundation said they would do free stock transfers for nonprofit without a fund at the agency even. So that is just really, really great. And then again, they're accepting. So they got this house donated as a pass-through gift when one of their donors passed. And so just really cool. And that's for Wheaton College. So I'm going to drop out of this now and probably go to the internet for a second, and just delve into a couple. I'll do reef.org because it's quick and easy to get to some of this stuff. Let me make it bigger. And then
Bonnie?
Yes, go ahead.
What is a pass-through gift?
So it's being used for X amount of time to house people for programs in the Keys. And then at some point it will be sold. So in that interim time that they have to hold the property, they are using it for good use. So, but it passes through, it's in the Community Foundation's hands right now, but the money will eventually go to, I believe, to Wheaton College. Okay. But the gift was given to Wheaton, but it is being held by them at this time. All right. And Reef Relief, sorry, I would use you except for the fact that I don't know what you've got going at your place. So I'm using your, not a competitor, but another one. When we talk about things like, I'm going to try and go to cause marketing, there's just a lot more to it. You've got the background, you've got to be able to say, and then I had created all of the forms that give the rules of the marketing policy, who will you accept in it, and what they get for being in the cause marketing. And so then you end up on the shop to support page, and that's where these are. So who does Reef use? And support businesses. So they're promoting businesses on their website that have these cause marketing. So of course you're promoting your own store. They're promoting Backscatter. And if you click on this link, then they will give money to Reef for purchasing. Wanderlust. I'm just trying to show you some of the different kinds of companies that do this. They donate 10% of products from their lionfish designs. So that's a smaller company. Zookeeper, Pokey House. So here's a restaurant that believes in it. And, California and Global Waves. So just when you think, how do I even find these? If you just do a search for cause marketing programs or shop to support, you'll learn a lot. Southern Tide, as a corporate, does the same thing. And they donate a portion from multiple in-store events here in Alamorada to do this, and different artists they've added in, and clothing. And here's Stream to See. They donate 20% of the purchase to Reef when you shop with this link and use the code Reef at checkout. Here's somebody who's donating artwork. And then, of course, the people with the underwater dive books, which are on the board and founders of Reef. Every time those books are purchased, they give a donation to Reef. And of course, another great sponsor in the Keys that always is giving to environmental causes is the brewery. Tortuga Music Festival gives a percentage of this rock concert in Fort Lauderdale each year to each of the groups. And so Reef has been in it for years. Key Dives, again, giving back revenue to local nonprofits. Pura Vida Divers Alert Network nationally has the same thing, Dan will make a contribution to Reef. So you think it's small companies. The reason why I'm going through these is Thrivent is just a national company, a financial planner, where people put their money and do their donor advised funds. And you can literally go in there, sign your company up, and actually, I'm going to see if I can call up this link. It will give you a spot on their site for giving. So here's a nominated an organization. Sorry, I'm getting rid of their privacy policy. And that's somebody who has thousands and millions of clients that can do. So if you really look around, you can set this up. Yes, it takes a little bit to set up these programs, but they matter. Corporate partners, when you do that, of course, you've got to have the ability to support them on their pages. This is the page for setting it up. And then you've got the actual page that would show off your corporate partners. Okay. Symbolic animal adoption, looking at the things you do. They literally create this cute little certificate that goes with each one of them and will mail it to people. So now instead of buying a $12 or $15 stuffed animal in their store, you get an actual certificate with the person's name, and you pay $40 or, adopt them, 3 of them for $100, and they give you this. So it's that imagination of it doesn't always have to rely on an event or something to have regular revenue coming into your organization. Honorary. I'm just going back over, do something to honor, and it's saying significant occasions. It could be anything from a wedding to whatever. Do a gift in memory through this. So honorary is different. You do have to have the setup again. If you don't have the back end of this, follow through, sending the note, doing what you want, then it's not going to work. But a little bit of time in setting these kind of options up makes a whole difference. And so then you have the memorial donations where it's, instead of flowers, and it goes on. So I'm going to quit here. I think I've given you enough to hopefully whet your appetite and ask what you think and what other things can you do.
Has Reef seen increase, like a big increase in revenue since setting all these things up?
Yes, part of the problem was when I went to work for them in 2017, is that's when they wanted to build the building they're now building. And they had honestly almost 100,000 members, but nobody pays a membership fee. You're a member for life. And most of the donors when I started in 2017 were giving nothing or $25 or $50 a year. You can't build a $5 million building on that. So they had to change the way they did things. They had to up their game. They had to change the ask and the amount that they were receiving and start building and working with larger donors and their own people in order to grow into an environment where then you could ask for funds to do something as large as build the conservation center they're building.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is so important because I just did a webinar yesterday, and the big takeaway from the webinar was that small dollar cash giving is really on the decline, and that planned giving and major gifts are really where it's at because of the tax. When the tax codes changed in 2017, people don't get a tax break for giving small dollar donations, but they do, as you mentioned, for stock and, that sort of thing. So I think that's why this is all so important. One thing that we started doing after I think it's great that you're going to do the planned giving again, because it's hard to take all this in the first time and take action on it. Like, it sometimes takes more than like one session to be like, okay, now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to do that. So what I started doing after I did your first session was the monthly giving. We just concentrated on that. And now we've built like a builder circle of people who are our monthly donors. And, we continue to build that. And that's taking people that might have given $100 a year to giving, $25 to $50 a month, or some of, we have bigger ones, but just, taking those small cash donors and converting them into the monthly givers increases their gift. And then you can almost count on that money. And it's really been helpful. Does anybody else here, has anybody experimented with any of these options that we've been talking about?
So Reef Relief has like a pretty good back structure for a lot of these, but I think that we haven't been necessarily promoting it very well or have our website set up to make it easy. So Bonnie, thank you for sharing the different websites. That gave me some ideas. So I'm going to go on our back end and start spicing things up a little bit more. Thank you very much. And then we never have this happen to us. We had people reach out and want to give us stocks. And so from your talk before, we felt way more prepared to be able to do that. We're still figuring out that journey a little bit more, but thank you so much. The information that you've shared has been really, really helpful for us.
Very cool. And if you'll remind me before we end, let me go back and do it now while I'm thinking about it. Where is this? What it is on the gifts of stock? Let's find it. There we go. So what happens is that they've got a wire transfer form, and that is where it gives the information that they need to transfer it. So if I clicked here, good, it's going to make me save it. So I'll save it to the desktop and then just open it real quick. And so here's their Wells Fargo account. So what happens is you'd get this from the community foundation. And again, whichever community foundation you work with, if they do it. And so that's what they do, is they just fill this out. It goes without you even knowing it happens sometimes. And all of a sudden you'll get a notice saying you've just been giving gifts of stock. And so they'll process it, they'll do the whole thing. And you can see that if you didn't have that. So with Bank of America, you had to literally call them and say sell. So you needed to be notified. And that piece of paper going directly to the bank didn't really give you that notice. So it's really important, the timing on all of that. And then you also spoke, Hannah, to the way people are giving now since the rules changed in 2017. That was really huge. So what most people so people still get their tax deductions. You need to understand that, but they're doing it by putting all that money in a fund and taking their tax break at that larger value, because they can get a tax break if they put 20,000 somewhere. Okay. So they put it in a donor advised fund, or, $1 million, they get that tax break, and then they feed the money off of it to the charities of their choice. So that's how they're doing it now. So the more affluent are still giving, or even the middle is still giving, but they had to get with their tax advisors and learn how to do that. The thing you have to be careful of is how you receive those gifts. So one gentleman seriously tried to pay for his diving trip to go count fish with a donor advised fund. Okay. And I'm going, you can't do that. Well, he'd already sent in the money, so he just left it there. So we got a nice gift that year. But, there has to be no gain for the donor in doing something like that. So be always careful of your gifts, that they're being handled correctly, because you don't want to get audited in a situation like that. So I do want to point that piece out as we talk about it. But donor advised funds, the hardest part of that is sometimes you don't even know who they're from anymore, so you can't properly thank them. It'll come from a trust account versus the person themselves. They will have a letter that goes with it. Either send a note, they've already gotten their tax deduction, but you can still acknowledge them. So you want that note to be as good as it can be, and thank you, and look what we did with it, because it's no longer a tax notice. It's now just a way of reaching the person, if you can.
Yeah, that does make it complicated, not always knowing, who to thank. So that's definitely something that we've encountered, and we're like, what do we even do here?
Mhm. Yeah, with our organization, a lot of our donors, because of the new tax law, they're giving through their funds and expecting, because they always used to give through membership, and now they're giving through their funds and not realizing they can't get membership in exchange. So
Mhm.
we've had to come up with some language that says, thank you so much for your donation. Please know that this does not go towards membership. And it is a little tricky. You have to be really specific, because I think some folks don't realize that. And of course, you want to keep them giving, but you have to make them realize it's, how do you work with that? It's become definitely a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Any tips on how to figure out who it's from if you don't know who it's from?
I have sometimes picked up the phone and called the trust fund and seen what I could find out,
Yeah.
but when you're calling Fidelity or any of these, I
Right.
mean, they're so big, but sometimes they will let you know themselves too.
Yeah.
And if you know your donors, it's, hey, watch for this, it's coming. When you're bigger, you just are going to get some anonymous gifts, which
Hmm.
nobody's going to complain about.
Right.
I do want to bring up another thing. I was just reminding myself how sometimes I get in trouble in organizations, and we're talking about, for a second, going off topic a little bit, but this auditing and all of this kind of stuff. I've gotten in trouble because I kind of had the opportunity. We don't have the support down here. Association of Fundraising Professionals is where I got my feet wet and really learned, because if I was going to run a nonprofit, I needed to know and understand. So their state conference is in June this year. It's in Orlando. And I have to tell you, they have the best speakers in the world. Then I got to go to international in Chicago one year, and that was 3,000 of the Mother Teresas of the world. It was unbelievable. It was an experience like no other. But except for what is being done here, you don't have that kind of support in the Keys. So you don't understand the rules. Like when I got the $9 million, I had to learn rules about UMIFA laws, that you have to be prudent as nonprofits in your investing, that you're not allowed to invest at 18% the monies that you hold. You need to be in stable markets that don't risk principal. And so when you're working with new nonprofits or change jobs and they're getting 18%, you're looking at them and you're trying to express this to your board and say, this is not the right way to do this. You have to be careful and tactful how you do that as well. But just to make sure all of you know, those kind of rules exist. In a nonprofit, it is not owned by the board. It is not owned by any one person. It is the people's. It is. It's what we do. We want to help others. So it's interesting how some of that works. But I just thought I'd bring that up out of the general, because if you start getting those big gifts, you want to know that you have to be responsible.
Right. And probably every nonprofit should have a written policy about what they do with each type of gift that they accept. Like I know that we do have a policy for stocks that we will sell immediately. But I think that's something that, we should we should also have all the other types of gifts in that policy.
So I have a QR code I'll put up on the screen later, or I can send the link to the actual files again later, but that I use when I'm doing the plan giving, that it has all of those background files, sample policies, all of that stuff that I just keep all on a Google Drive folder and available for any of you who ever want those kind of files. And the purpose is to work with your board to not just take that file and use it, but to say, what is it that you believe in? Who are we going to accept gifts from? If you're an environmental organization, do you want Exxon? Do you want, all of these kind of things? So it's a process. It's never just, here's a, policy, let's do it. So you have to think about it. What kind of affinity programs would you allow?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
those are all important decisions that you have to make.
They are. And, it's so tempting to just back burner all this stuff because we have immediate things, but really this is the future of fundraising. This is like, we all have to get on board with this because this is where the money's at. I think one thing I really liked that I still remember from your plan giving presentation and that I have yet to do, was to put something about the types of gifts we accept in your email signature. Do you want to mention that really quick? Wasn't that from you? I think it was.
Could be in the email signature. That's really cool. I don't think that's from me, but I think it's also on the on this. So you've got your statement of what you're willing to give or what you're willing to accept it. So there's an actual statement here, on every page. Here's their mission of what they want and the links, and then they've got, of course, our state language here, and then here's donations. Gifts on this page are not designated for any specific work, so they've done different clarifications in that realm in trying to make sure people understood that these are non-restricted, of course, versus restricted. But yeah, it never hurts. It never hurts. On my signature, I have that, all of my social media links, but it would certainly be great to say, have you ever considered monthly giving? Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Do a different one once a month and then share it with your staffs. That's a great idea. I wish I'd thought of
it. Well, I'm crediting you. Is anybody else currently doing any of these things? Anybody accepting different types of gifts or affinity programs? That's something we haven't gotten into yet.
We've only accepted stock once, and that was actually a few years back after one of the hurricanes, and it came through Florida Blue. That they had a grant with us, told us to apply, and instead of sending us a check, they actually transferred stock, which was new to us. And luckily, Marlo DeMoss, who used to be in the Upper Keys, was our financial planner, and we were able to transfer the stock to her, who then sold it and converted it to cash. But yeah, that was a new one for us, and we weren't 100% sure, how to handle that.
We had a donation this year of a Starlink. I don't even know what a Starlink is, but we have one, and we're trying to figure out it's used, and we're trying to figure out how to sell it. So far it's been on Facebook Marketplace, but I wonder if CFFK would sell it for us.
What is a Starlink?
If it's a Starlink system, I actually have that for my internet at home, and it is amazing internet. So it might be something you want to consider using for your internet services for your organization.
Okay, we also got hydroponic tower gardens.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Auction them.
I know a guy down in Big Pine. You can talk to him at another point in time. Kidding.
I just saw him at the Celtic Festival and went, I want one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We are just starting out with
one. We've got two.
We are just starting out with starting our membership group, our affinity group, Friends of AHEC. Do you have any pointers for us on best practices or things that we can do to encourage people to become Friends of AHEC?
Lots of pictures of little smiling kids. I'm sorry. It's the stories. It's the stories of people you've touched. Okay. The families, the difference. When you presented at our Rotary, just just exactly what you did there, Michelle. It was fantastic. Those are the things, make them little short quips. I think, stories on Facebook these days, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So do you talk about groups on Facebook at all, Hannah? Have you?
We haven't really talked about it. I know a lot of us here do that. But we haven't talked about it.
So a page on Facebook these days doesn't do you much good. But if you let's see, I think this is where I want to go. If you share to groups. So I just got permission to start because SBDC was very difficult. So if you take what you've done and you just share to groups, okay, you'll be surprised at all the groups I've got. I have way too many and way too many topics because I share too many things. But when you do, we have a ton of groups in the Keys that are all about for promoting events, for promoting different things. You have to learn which ones you can promote on. So here for your events, people will see your event or what you're trying to raise money for in a group 1,000 times faster than they will in a so you, as the organization, sign up for groups. You don't have to do it personally as Bonnie. I'm doing it here. And then you just simply write something and share your event or something to different groups. So if I were on as Miami Ski Club, which I do, and I wanted to share to groups, okay, an event or something, I can do that and post it on all of these pages that are related to skiing or whatever in South Florida and who might be of interest. But the difference is that it is about the size of the groups. And let me see, I'm going back here for a second. That's what I wanted to go to is I'll go back to me and show you that it shows you the size of the groups. And some of our groups, especially when it's a tourist or something that might be in town, are 20,000 people. And so you have that potential. Here's, I'm just looking for some that are in the Keys. 7,000 for just if you're trying to hit some people in Marathon. Alamorada, 11,000 people see this because they're getting the notifications that they would not get if they're just on your page. So you can see that these people are all seeing it. And then once they actually like or something your post on one of these groups, you can invite them to join your page. So that's how we grew the History Museum from 11,000 people to over 20,000 is by working with groups. Okay.
Now, Bonnie, I do this for Habitat, but it's kind of tedious. You can post the first time you post something, you can post it in 3 groups simultaneously.
Absolutely.
But
good girl.
After you can only do one at a time. It's so annoying. Do you have any, there's no secret way to post to a lot of groups at once, is there?
Interns and volunteers. Did I just say that? But look at Pine Island, 32,000 people. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a free way to promote your activities or my public speaking for Small Business Development Center, I'm posting to those groups that it says small business advertising, this, all of these things. So you go on, you search Florida Keys, you search Islamorada, you search Marathon, you sign up for all these groups and have them there and you post to different ones. But what I was telling somebody to do is make a spreadsheet of these and put the size of the groups in it. Because if you've only got so much time, and maybe you even have an X column, I posted on this day and this one, this one, this one, this one. Now, the next time you post, because you can't get to all of them, you are so correct. It takes forever. You'll pick this one, this one, this one.
Yeah. And you can go in your, on your business page, you can see which posts did best, like in which groups, which ones got the most views. And prioritize those groups. That's a good idea to do a spreadsheet. I need to do that. I just had a list that I was like putting them in order of like what was best, what I got the best return from. But the spreadsheets are a good idea.
Sorry, I was saying we also use, the groups. We've been doing this for a while. And you're right. If I go on to the desktop, I have to share one by one. But for some reason, if I use my phone, there's a little checkbox and you can hit all of them. And listen, I don't know why. Facebook is one of those things that it works differently in different platforms. But I swear to you, if I use this phone and do it here, all I have to do is hit them all and hit one send, and it goes to all the different groups. And
wow. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it worked that on the other way too, because you're right. It would save me a ton of time, but
No, you just saved us all a ton of time. Thank you. But the list still makes sense at this point because I have too many and for different purposes. I'll have the ski club, I'll have my work. I have, the volunteer for the Toastmasters, and it keeps on going. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And then some of them are just completely spam filled and people don't use them anymore, but to like figure out which ones those are and delete them, it's, just too much time.
I've noticed, because I did quite a few postings on different groups and things just within the last week, that then I have to be very vigilant then I receive a lot of spam right away. So then I'm trying to be very vigilant on taking care of that spam right away, blocking those people, making sure that they're not, trying to copy our page or, that type of thing. So it's a crazy animal, social media.
All right, let me put up the code. Where is it? It's in the end. Dun, 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 dun. This is the QR code. If anybody wants to scan it, or I'll take the link. It's a bit.ly. I hope it still works. Sorry, I haven't checked it. And I'll throw that in the chat too. Okay. But anybody, I'm giving you enough seconds before I stop the share again.
Okay.
To grab that link, and hopefully everything. I didn't get a chance this morning, apology, to double check everything, but I'll drop this link for files for there. Okay. So hopefully that helps. And that'll stay with the recording too, I think, right?
Yes, it should. Good. And I can post it in our notes too. And yeah, it did work. I just tried it. So
okay. So that's got the little policies, samples. It's got all of that kind of stuff to help you with different ideas, to help you formulate and do these within your own organizations. Okay.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. That is so helpful. Yeah, I'm pasting that so I can put it in the follow-up that I send out to everybody. Does anyone have any more ideas or questions or examples?
I think Mike gets surprised for that one.
Yeah. Yes, I will put that in our notes too.
Trust me, it was completely by accident that I found it, because all of a sudden I was like, well, look at this. Wow.
Trust me, I will be testing it.
Yes, same. I never end up using my phone when I'm at work, just because I'm at work, but all right. Well, I guess that is what we have today, and I will post follow-up notes with Bonnie's information and this link. And Bonnie, let me know when you're going to do the planned giving sessions again, because I really do, I'm definitely going to go again. Sometimes I just need more than once for everything to sink in, because, especially if you're not familiar with different types of financial products to begin with, but yeah, I think this was great, and I really appreciate your sharing your knowledge with us. Anybody else comments, questions?
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Bonnie. Thanks everybody for coming, and we'll share. I don't know when Michael and Michelle are going to be ready to share what they've learned with Luna, but we'll schedule that for one of these sessions because I'd really be interested in hearing that too.
Thank you all.
All right,
Thank
have a
you.
great day, everybody. Thank you so much, Bonnie. That was amazing.
Have a great day.
You too.